Alright, so lesson 3 of blogging 101, and today I'm looking at how to get your blog post seen, which basically means how to get your blog post ranked on the first page of Google effectively, on the basis that everything runs through Google nowadays. So first of all, last time we looked at the Huffington Post, and we basically looked at what the Huffington Post does, and the reason why they manage to sell for so much money is that they write blog posts about every single subject under the sun. You can see all the ones that are highlighted there: black voices, gay voices, sports, crime. So what you eventually get is you get a bunch of people for each individual subject who are interested in a specific type of subject, and therefore you get a certain type of prospect, a certain demographic, and all of those people go into the subscribe button on the right hand side. And then effectively what the Huffington Post is just a massive vehicle for collecting people's email addresses that they can then be marketed to. And that's effectively what the Huffington Post has done. And that is also what your own blog should be, assuming that you want to be actually making money from your blog as opposed to just blogging for fun. So I've got my own blog here, and it's a really simple concept. You are not the Huffington Post, but what you can do is choose a particular area that you're interested in, and then by writing blog posts, get people that you want to market to get to your blog, because you're going to be writing things that are going to be of interest to those people. But what you do need to do is you need to make sure that the blog posts that you write are actually going to be seen, because otherwise you're just going to get completely lost. No one's going to ever go to your blog because no one's ever going to see the stuff that you do. And just to kind of talk about how this works, you've really got to think about niching. People talk about niches a lot, and if you look at a store that's in the middle of nowhere, they can afford to have generalization. They can afford to have a restaurant and to sell everything under the sun, because it's the only store in town. But if you've got a store that's in the middle of a big city, then it's very much different, because you can't afford to generalize that way unless you are a massive store that's well known, like Macy's or whatever. If you just got your own store, let's say you've got a bookstore in a big city like this, you need to niche it. You need to you need to have the best bookstore which sells 17th century French poetry, of a particular kind, or whatever. You need something that's really, really niche to get people to specifically want to go and see your store, because it's the only one that sells what you sell in that entire town. And just like this city's busy, the internet is a very, very busy place. So you're going to make sure that you are specific enough so that you're not going to get lost in a kind of generalization. And this is where the idea of a long tail keyword comes in. And what it basically means is that if you look at any kind of term, on the left hand side you've got camera. There's going to be on the internet a huge number of terms that will have the word camera in them. And if you ever try to do a blog post about a camera, you will never, ever, ever, ever get it seen by anybody. However, the further right you go, the more specific you're being about what type of camera. You've got a digital camera. Okay, now we've got a Sony digital camera. Okay, we've got a Sony CyberShot digital camera. So you get right to the end, Sony digital camera, 7.1 with a 3x optical zoom. Now, there might not be that many people that will actually make that specific search. However, the likelihood is that the people that do make that search will be much, much more likely to see your blog post about it, because there ain't going to be that many blog posts about that specific search. So you've got to ask yourself, what's the best thing to do if you've got a subject where you've got 1 million people every single month searching for it, but nobody's ever going to see your blog post. Well, isn't it better to aim for a subject where there's maybe only, say, 50 people a month searching for that specific title, but the likelihood is that most of those people are going to see your blog post because it's the only blog post of one of the very few blog posts about that specific subject. If you see what I'm getting at, yeah? So you've got to be specific in both what your blog's about and also what you're writing about. So here's a couple of tips for you, or a few tips for you to get your blog post seen. First, we're going to do your keyword research. Now, I'm not going to go into it in this video. I'll do it in the next one. But keyword research is really key. It's the way that you make sure you get those long tail keywords, the more specific searches that might not have a huge number of volume going in, but you're going to get actually seen. Your blog post will be seen because you're actually targeting specific keywords and doing it in a way that's going to be as efficient as possible. That is the key, and I'll go into that on the next video. After that, write blog posts about specific subjects. I personally find that if you try and do blog posts about generalization, general subjects, you know, why I'm happy in the morning, you know, why blog posts are great, you know, this kind of thing. Again, you're going to get lost in a generalization. Your blog post is never going to get found. Yeah, well, this is just, we're talking basic blogging tips. We're not talking about you being an SEO specialist, getting backlinks, and being able to kind of actually rank for those kind of subjects. How do you rank for something when you're a newbie, you're a beginner, and the first thing you need to do is really just write about specific subjects. I find really helps. So, for example, you can review a company or a program in your niche. You know, so if you're in diet, you can talk about a specific diet program, and and the smaller the company, or the smaller and more specialized the program, the better for you to do the review on it, because there'll be less people looking for it, but the people that are looking for it will be much more likely to see you. Yeah, so that's the first really good tip. Write a product review. So again, if you're in the diet industry, if there's a particular shaker that has just come out, do a product review on it. If you've got a particular type of product that's been released by Herbalife or whoever, then do a product review of one of their products. If they've got a new a new diet supplement program, do a product review on it. Be specific about the product. You're going for a very small audience, but it's better to have a small audience seeing what you're doing than go for a big audience and absolutely nobody sees it because of all the other rush of blog posts that are kind of overtaking yours by bigger companies than you, and they're going to get seen and you won't. So go for the specifics. Name check individuals. Name check individuals who are in your niche. People out there and generally won't have heard of them, but in your particular market, there will be particular individuals that people in your niche will know about and want to hear about. And if you name check those individuals and talk about them, you're going to get your blog post seen. And finally, report on news and events, but news and events in your niche, in the area that you want to get involved with and you want to be making your sales in, etc. Talk about what's happening locally. Talk about what's happening in specific companies, what's happening. And you might have a relatively short shelf life, this one, but you can get quite a bit of traffic from it and quite a lot of people will see your stuff. So just to give you an example of how I personally have done some of this practically myself, so you can see that I'm working the work. This was a blog post I did about World Ventures, they're an MLM company. Particularly they've got a BMW kind of program they do, and so this was keyword research, came up quite high, got on the top page of Google. These are all top pages of Google, and there's a number of people that go on and check that out and see the blog post as a result. This was a news one. My advertising page, kind of RevShare company. Quite a few people interested in that are likely to be interested in what I do. And this post was just talking about the fact that this company was looking to sue a particular internet blogger who had really had a big campaign against them for quite some time. Anyway, first page of Google, right? And then this last one just kind of maybe takes all of these different aspects into account. I've name checked a guy called Chris Jones who was involved in my company, and just talks a little bit about the fact he's leaving the company, what he's doing and all the rest of it. I've name checked somebody, I've gone specific into the company, and it's news. Yeah, and again, top page of Google, there'll be a bunch of people who are interested in that, and every single one of those people the likelihood is they're going to want to check out the blog because it's second on the first page of Google. So I hope this helps. This is just a few ideas to actually make sure that your blog actually gets seen, that you rank on the first page of Google, and that the blog posts that you do are actually going to be seen by people, because that is key. In the future lessons, I'll be talking about obviously other ways of getting your blog post seen, sharing on social media, etc. But in terms of getting ranked on Google, these are some really good ideas to make sure that happens. Anyway, I hope you found it useful. Next lesson, like I say, I'll do a little bit on keyword research.